everybody, I'm Voylin and today I want to talk about the basic things that you have to keep in mind when traveling to Japan. First of all, I want to say all the information I'm going to tell is valid from this day. So first of all, I want to talk about risks. So Japan is a pretty safe country. You don't really have to worry about getting your stuff stolen or anything like that. The criminality in Japan is pretty low. But in general, the only area you have to stay away from is Fukishima, for obvious reasons. I will put a link down in the description of the areas around Fukushima that you can go to or can go to. And another risk in Japan is the risk of natural disasters. So it's well known that Japan has a lot of earthquakes, tsunamis, typhoons, all that kind of stuff. So keep that in mind when traveling to Japan. There can also be heavy snowfalls, a lot of rain, stormy weather and such on. Safety recommendation. So when there's a tsunami or anything else, of course if you are by the sea and there's tsunami alerts, follow the guidelines. There will be signs out or any other instructions, follow them correctly or else you could be in big trouble. The two links that I will put under safety recommendations in the description below. The first one is a kind of guideline for foreigners that travel to Japan, so they know what to do in case of a natural disaster. And the second one is kind of a disaster prevention, I don't really know what to call it. Criminality. So criminality in Japan, I've already said that, is practically nothing. But there are some areas you have to be careful in. There are a couple of them and I will read them off now. Eiroppongi, Kabukicho, Shinjuku in Tokyo, Namba and Minami in Osaka. But in general you don't have to worry at all. Japan is a safe country, the locals are very nice. Transport. So there are a couple of ways to travel in Japan. You have first the roads. If you drive a car, be sure to have your correct driver's license. Like I live in Belgium, but with a international driver's license I ain't in Japan, because the driver's license has to be in Japanese, so better look out for that. I found a website that had that information but I can't find it again, so if I find it later on I will put it down in the description below. But in general the roads are pretty well maintained, very clean, very safe. The next thing is the air transport. So all airlines, all Japanese airlines are pretty safe. They follow the safety guidelines, like the safety guidelines we have for airlines in the EU. There are a couple of airports, so transport with a plane is very accessible. The water transport. So Japan has a lot of small islands laying around and luckily there are a lot of ferry routes going back and forth between the places. Then you have the buses and the trains. So buses are pretty much like an east country. I've heard they are mostly on time, but the trains, that's something not a lot of people have seen before. A train comes on time in Japan. I know, it's amazing. I know some countries that could learn from that. I'm not naming any country at all. Learn something! So yeah, but yeah, in general the transport is safe. Medical infrastructure. Ooh. The medical facilities are very good in Japan. But the thing is they are quite expensive. So if you have an accident in Japan you may be broke when you come back. So be sure to have a travel insurance. Also, if you have to take medication with you, be sure to go to your doctor in advance to know if your medical pills or any other things that you need for your health, that they are allowed in Japan. So pretty much almost all medication is allowed, but there are a couple of exceptions if they are stronger than others, and better go to your doctor, ask in advance if they are allowed inside of Japan. And if you are taking medicine for over a month with you to Japan, then be sure to go to your doctor as well to consult them, because you will need special papers. Local legislation. As you may expect it, drugs aren't allowed in Japan. Trading isn't allowed, consuming isn't allowed either. So, photo and filming. So you can take photos of almost everything, film almost everything. So that won't be a problem, but be sure to respect the people, the locals, their privacy. Don't snap pictures of everyone. Respect their privacy. You don't want to be on tape all the time or have pictures of you all around the internet, so think about their side too. So keep that in mind. Respect privacy. And for the press, for the journalists and the business photographs or anything like that, you will need to have a special permit. I don't really know how that process goes, but I will put the link down in the description below. Traditions. So Japan has a lot of traditions that is well known over almost the whole world, I think. Taking your shoes off before you go in a house. Not rubbing with your chopsticks against each other can be considered rude. No loitering on the streets. Also, for the smokers, I have bad news for you. In some areas and in some whole cities, smoking isn't allowed. Just look up the city or ask locals for information about that if you want to smoke. And one rule, and I've heard that a lot of the locals, the Japanese people themselves, can be pretty mad about, is people who go to an onsen without following the proper guidelines. If you go to an onsen, follow their rules. Wash yourself first before you go in the hot water itself. Practical information. So every country has different recommendations for having a visa. Like my country is just a visa on arrival when I go to Japan, but that may be different for your country. Keep that in mind. Credit cards. There are ATMs on the street, but not a lot of shops have a ATM system in the shop, so you can pay with your credit card. Keep in mind to always have some change on your pockets, because you will need it. And the currency used in Japan is the Japanese yen. It has a nice logo, symbol, whatever you call it, kanji token. And some of the cell phones may not work, like my cell phone won't work in Japan, but you can buy SIM cards, so it's always cheaper. And if you just want some Wi-Fi or anything like that, you can buy Wi-Fi hotspots that you take with you. So that's it for this video. If you have other tips or advice when traveling to Japan, leave them down in the description. If I have a lot of tips and advice from you guys, I will probably make a second video to inform everybody about your tips and advice. So my name is Voylin, all the links will be down in the description. Subscribe and I'll see you later. Bye!